Welcome back to my garage, everybody. This is going to be video 5 on a 3,000 part video series or so of the 1974 CB550. I got my tank all painted. I actually did this a little while ago. Otherwise I might have shown you some of the steps in the video, but if I show you the steps on how to do this, then I probably have to kill you because it's top secret. A couple things that we're going to be working on next on the bike is we got a bunch of side badges for the tanks that need to be put on. We got a new gas cap, and we got a new Petcock that needs to get put on. And we got the side covers all painted also, but I don't have the new badges. And then we got the seat needs to be put on. Here is the side covers. They're also metal flake orange. And we got exhaust wrap. We got that new brake line I got to put on. These are the air filters, little pod filters. So we got some fun things to put on this time. And hopefully they'll all go on easily. And then the bike will pretty much be about done by then. So stick around, we'll get started. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this gas cap put on. This is a new one, I believe, that came from Amazon. And it's got all the levers and all that sort of stuff. My original one had fallen apart and looked gross. So we're gonna have to probably get some of the paint scraped out of these holes so the dowel will go through. And so we'll get started on that and let you know what it turns out like. Okay, so got the gas cap on. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, like everything. And just like with everything, there was no real literature or pictures or videos on the internet to copy. Excuse me. So if you have one of these, you're probably going to have the same problems I had. One is that if you paint a lot of clear coat like I do, then these posts are all going to have to be sliced open a little bit with a razor blade to get that extra clear coat off. Because there's just such a fine tolerance in there that it wouldn't actually fit with the 1 to 2 milliliters or millimeters of clear coat built up. So anyways, let's get a bright light on here. Is that too bright? Too stroby? Okay, let's try a different flashlight. The main thing is that the spring right here. Can I even freaking show this or what? Let's try this. I'll zoom in. There it is. So if you look, both of those little tabs from the spring come out this side. I didn't take a picture of the one that I took off, and it didn't even have the spring. I actually had a nail that was shoved in there and bent, and then the nail would grab the latch. So that was how fabulous it was before. So what you have to have though is you have to have that spring set up with those tabs on that side so it springs like this. And that's the information the internet didn't want to show me because I couldn't figure out for the life of me where that spring went. But there it is. So there's all the answers that you might have needed. So I got a bunch of tape on there just so I don't scratch things when I use my freaking tools, because that's what I do, I scratch things. So let me put it back. Sorry about that, I accidentally turned off the camera. So anyways, I got the tape all off, and this is the finished product. Yeah. You gotta kind of push it down at the same time as the release. It's tight, just like I like it. That's what she said. So we got the pretty little cap on there. Starting to look pretty nice. I was gonna put the Honda badges on, but the Honda badges have this little, let me turn the camera around. There we go. It's hard to see, but there's like this little metal clip. It's called a fixing nut, I believe. And those didn't come with my new badges. So by the way, if you're looking for replacement badges, eBay's got them. They're like $1 million for a set of 2. There's the part number. Oh, I can't believe how expensive these silly things are. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have ripped off these other ones so violently. This one of them broke when I tore it off. This one just got bent. I probably could save it, but the gold is all lost off of the outside. So, look, it's supposed to have, can this be shown? There you go. It's got gold plastic that it's all set in, or whatever that cheapo lead or graphite or I don't know, pewter. Who knows? Anyway, so I had to buy new ones. I'm also in a hunt for this. This turns out to be one of the most unobtainable parts on the whole dang bike. They do make pop ones of these that are really nice, but they don't have this raised up orange plastic. They just kind of have a painted piece and it's red. And as you can tell, that orange matches the paint job pretty well. So, I don't know what to do. My plan so far is just to repaint the black and the white on this one and make it look nice, and then try to find another used one for the other side cover, but that's what these are. These are the side cover badges. So, we got the tank badges, but I've got to get those little fixing nuts. I just ordered those. They were like $1,000 for 4 off the internet from eBay, like everything. Next up, we're gonna do the Petcock, or fuel valve, if you're from a different country. So anyways, got that off of Amazon. I think it was probably like 10 or 20 bucks, pretty cheap. Unfortunately, it's got 2 mil outlets, so I'm gonna have to reconfigure my carburetor inlet stuff, because I have them all 4, or all, well, I guess there's 2, like 2 different ones. There's one that comes out here and then one that comes out from the other side, but I mated them all with a T, so I'm gonna have to somehow figure out what those 2 outlets are for and figure out a way to hook it up to my one, or just split that one off there and that one and just run all the way out separate 2 ones for the Petcock. So, giddy up. So this is the probably made in China Petcock that I have here. And I took off that little, I don't know what you call that flow bowl thing. Little debris catcher. It's got crap all in it. So typical China crap. I freaking hate things made in China. I don't know about you guys. What is up with that country? They don't make anything great except for freaking cyber attacks or something. Look at that piece of crap. So, look at those burrs everywhere. Holy crap. Same with this. That thread had freaking burrs all over it. So, I'm going to take a second and clean all this cock-a-doodle-doo out so it doesn't get all in my fuel system. And this is pretty typical when you don't buy made in Japan stuff. In my opinion, if it's not made in America or Japan, or maybe Germany sometimes, it just pretty much sucks. It all comes from China or somewhere, and it just has no love. So, after I got the Petcock cleaned out, I have come to the conclusion that these threads are horribly cut. There's just debris and burrs everywhere in this thing. And I tried to mount it and put the screws in, but if you look through the screw holes, you see that squared edge that's protruding? Right in those little holes. You see that little squared off edge? Well, that keeps the screw from going through, so I'm going to get my file out and file the dang thing. So, that's what you get when you buy China. So I got the Petcock mounted, and it dawned on me that there might be somebody out there that doesn't know how to take it off, and that might be why you're here. So if you have your Petcock, you have this nut on the bottom of the bowl. That's a 14 mil, so you're going to loosen that up, pop that off. And there's a rubber gasket or O-ring. And then there's this screen. And that screen would come out if I turn the gas tank upside down, but I'm not going to. And underneath that screen though, you can see there's two Phillips screws. One there and one there. And if you have an impact screwdriver, I would recommend using those because those things usually are all corroded with old gas and kind of rusted in. So anyways, you gotta take those out and then the whole Petcock will come out. There is an O-ring that goes on this side to seal it. And that's basically it. When you put it all back together, just make sure you got your screen in there. And then your O-ring goes back in, and then this guy threads back in, and then crank it up with the 14 mil. And that's how you do it. So I decided that I'll go ahead and mention a few things about how I did the painting of the gas tank. I got a few still photos that I could probably just put into the video and to kind of show you some of the steps. But basically step one is I use a paint stripper, and I'll take this out to like my outside and put it on some cardboard and put a bunch of paint stripper on with a paintbrush. Well, let me go back. First, you got to get off all of this type of crap. You want to make sure the inside of the gas tank is all clean, and if you need to seal that, do that now before you put the new paint on. Then go take your old gas cap, your badges, your Petcock, everything off the gas tank. Then you put your stripper on with a paintbrush, come back and scrape it off with a wire brush, put some more stripper on. That takes about an hour of stripping and stuff, and then you gotta wash it all off, which is a nightmare. And then from then you put if it's all stripped down to bare metal, you have to put a bare metal primer on that'll stick to the bare metal. I'll go ahead and I'll show that video right now. Sorry, not a video, a picture. After you got it all primed up, then you're going to want to sand it all with like maybe 400 or something, maybe something in the 3s or 400s to get it flat. Get any orange peel off. And then you're going to start to notice some dents, you know, little tiny dents you didn't notice before. That's a good time to go ahead and put the Bondo on. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you the picture of that right now. Okay, after you're done with the Bondo, then you're going to go ahead and start painting. First thing you do is you put a base coat, or at least the way I do it is base coat of some silver. And then you go ahead and you put the clear mixed with your metal flake, about a 500 million coats. And then you're going to want to put clear all over that, a million coats. And then once that dries after a few days, you go back and you sand it. I like to wet sand because I don't like the powder everywhere, so I wet sand so it drips all off. This is all outside. I don't do this on the bike, by the way. And I do it over a little drain in my backyard on a nice little spongy mat so the tank doesn't get chipped while you're doing it. Sand it with about 360 grit, maybe 400. You could even do like 240 or something, but you have a better chance of burning through stuff the lower your grit is. So you get it basically all flat. You want the final clear coats that you put on back to flat again. Okay, next thing we do is we tape out wherever you want your different panels. If it's all one color, it's super easy. You don't have to do anything there, and just put your candy. And then once you got your candy on, you got to bury it with clear again, and then sand that all down. And I think I have a photo I can put in right now of that. Once you have that all sanded flat again, then you can go back and reverse mask all of this off. So you just have this big spot of metal flake silver. and then you go back and tape out whatever designs you want, so that way whatever stays metal flake silver has tape over it. So you can see that was a piece of tape and that was a piece of tape. And then you go back, do your other colors, which in this case was a black. And then once that black sets up a little bit, you take off all your pieces of tape. Peel off your reverse mask. So now you got the whole thing. Keep in mind this was already sanded, so it's rough and it's ready to take paint. The pieces that you took tape off the silver are already going to be rough and sanded from when you previously had wet sanded everything. So now you have this black that's kind of shiny, but it's going to be raised up like a millimeter because the paint is thick from piling it up for a million coats. So then you got to clear over the whole thing again. And once that's done, that'll fill in some of these cracks, but you'll still be able to fill like that line there or the edges. So you guessed it. Got to sand it all again, wet sand the crap out of it till it's all flat. Hopefully you don't burn through. Then you go and put the final coats on. So I think I might have a picture and the process of that I'll put in right now. That's basically how it all happens. But what you end up with is this really neat paint job that's got just a lot of depth to it. So I didn't do any cut and buff. I actually have never done cut and buff. But what I do is that after I get my final clears on, I wait for them to dry again, and then I wet sand it all, and then I put a top coat on, like 2 top coats, and I do a real wet, maybe it's called flow coat, I don't really know. And so that way, if you look, you can see my reflection here from over there. I think it's that Harley Davidson sign that we're looking at right here. And as we go around, you can see that it doesn't warp because it's super flat. But if you look at this line here, you can see I do have a tiny bit of orange peel, but it's not anything that even like new cars have way worse orange peel than that. This is very minor. So you can also see with that light, it's pretty straight. But best of all, you got this kind of movement that happens as you walk around. And the cameras don't pick this up worth a crap, but it's super pretty to watch as you walk by. Oh, excuse me. There's my dirty garage. Hi. So that's how the paint went. So I hope that helps you guys out some. If you've never painted before, don't do this. Just get a single stage paint and try your best not to get runs. This is kind of a sophisticated paint job, and you gotta have a lot of ambition. To let you know how long this takes, I kind of know how to do this stuff. I'm not a pro at anything I do. I'm just a jack, I guess, not a king. But it still took me about, I think, almost 30 hours of paint and sanding. So it takes a lot of work. Had I just done a single stage, it might take me like 2 or 4 hours, you know, who knows, a lot less. So that's where we're at with all of that. It looks really nice with the gas cap. Can't wait to get the Honda emblem on there. Okay, next up we'll probably, I don't know, do something easy like the pod filters. Something, I don't know, I'll figure it out and turn the camera back on in a minute. So I'm going to do the seat mounting next. It should be pretty easy. Like I said before in my previous videos, I'll say it again in case you didn't watch those videos. When I got the bike, the hinges here, whatever you call these, were hacked off. as well as this was hacked right here for some reason. So anyways, I got to make up something for this. I was going to stick, I have these really nice Allen, I don't know, M6 bolts. But the problem is that you have to tighten the nut down, which puts tension on that hinge and makes it not want to open and close the seat. So I think what I'm going to do is drill a hole through there so I can throw a cotter pin in a washer. Oh, excuse me. So the problem is that centering and drilling a tiny hole through this tiny screw is gonna be tough. So I'll stick it up here on the drill press. See if we can't get it on the drill press vise locked in nicely, and see if we can't get a hole drilled. I'll let you know how it goes. So I wasn't able to get my drill press to drill accurately enough. So I went ahead and I just threw on some bolts with some washers, and it was gonna be fine. And after I'd finished, I looked down on my pile of crap there and I realized that one of these baggies actually had the seat pins in it with that seat latch. So that was real nice of the guy that gave me the bike or the seat to send those. So there's what the stock little pins look like that I didn't know I had. And yes, I know that those are freaking horrible welds, okay? You don't have to keep pointing it out to me. I'm aware. I just don't care. So we got the cotter pins in. Seat's freaking looking ugly as hell, but that's okay because it's on the underside. Boom. And there's the seat all mounted. What's that? You want to see underneath the seat? Boom. There we go. So, one thing down for today. So this is the foot peg with the rubber taken off. So in case anybody out there is going to do this, this was pretty much brand new. It just has a little scuff on this side, and the other one looked really well, but I had brand new ones, so I'm not exactly sure how I got these, but I got some brand new ones. So here's the left foot I already have done. See, it looks pretty nice. Cleaned out all that crap. So, not necessarily a thing you have to do, but if you would like to do this, I had a real hard time getting this off because it's got this big square plug at the end. So a couple things that helped was I grabbed it and I twisted it like this, and that made that plug get real hot inside this rubber, and that enabled it to come out a little bit. At the same time, I had my air compressor line shooting about 120 pounds in this little hole here, so it kind of helped build up pressure on this side, and then it slowly came out, but it was tough. So if you're trying to get those off of yours, I would just suggest cut them off with a razor blade, unless you're like me and you have some that are pretty good still and you want to save them. And stick the air line in there and twist it with whole cans until it starts to get soft, and then you should be able to pull it out. I also use the vise to hold it. Putting them on is pretty easy. You just have to figure out which way it goes and where the top tread is going to go, and if you mess it up, you can still rotate it. Just like my handle grips, I like to put a little isopropyl on there, and that'll work as a lube, but because there's an air hole, it'll evaporate out, and then it won't be slick anymore once it's done evaporating out. So I probably could do this for you, but it would just involve a lot of really messy filming because I have to use both my hands. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put the alcohol in there and then try to turn it on and do it one-handed real quick. So give me a second. Okay, so I got some rubbing alcohol in there. Now just, oh my goodness. I'll just break our hand. Oh yeah, this is not gonna work one-handed, is it? Or maybe it will. So anyways, there it is. So not that much of a difference, but might as well just go ahead and use it since I got it, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll put those on and show you how that goes. So there are two different pegs. One has a real long armature And the other has a short one. Let's see if we can compare them so you can see them both. So this is going to be the left side or driver's side. And this is the passenger side one, or I guess you don't really have passengers on motorcycles. That weird little arrow there is going to sit up against that dowel. You see that? And that keeps it from slipping around. That's also how I knew where the rigid part goes on the new foot grip. There has to be this locking washer, and then I believe a 17 mil puts that bolt on, or that nut on. I'm gonna get some anti-seize and put it on there first, so that way the next guy can get it off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, button her all up, and then figure something else to show you. Something that I just thought of that was worth mentioning is the bolt that the foot peg mounts to is an engine mounting bolt. So it actually goes through. Holy. Sorry about that air compressor. It's very rude. Also, if you hear that, that's not a microphone problem. That's that guy constantly trying to shoot air out everywhere. Anyways, as I was saying, this goes all the way through the other side. So when you loosen one or tighten one, it's likely to spin the other side. If you just try to put one on, it'll suck all of that bolt out, and the threads will just keep threading out until you end up with nothing on the other side. So you kind of got to put them both on by hand. Ugh. And then tighten, you know, get them both on and snug a little bit, and go to the other side and snug a little bit. So that way when you do this tightening, it doesn't pull the whole bolt out of the other side. It's like just happened to me. Also, this is a 19 mil. I lied, it's not a 17 mil. So we got new foot pegs on now. We got a seat on. So I'll put the gas tank on and just give you a little sneak peek real quick. So there's where we're at so far with everything. It's looking pretty nice. I probably should have put the little side covers on too so you could see that, but you'll have to wait. So you can tell we got a lot of work done, but without that little Honda symbol there, it just doesn't look like it's finished yet, does it? So there's that gas cap. Came out pretty nice. There's the fuel petcock, or the fuel valve. And we got some new foot pegs. So I think next up I'll go ahead and get on the air filters. I still got to order a back foot peg for the passenger. Never thought about that until recently. And an exhaust. Basically, if I put oil in it and throw the exhaust on, put some gas in, should be able to run and drive. So it's getting real close. I think I'll do the air filters next, and maybe turn it on and show you if I come up with anything that you might need to know in your own CB550 project. We'll show you what I got. I got these kind of generic Unipod filters. So how the heck do you open this? I don't know. And the reason why I got generic is that I don't want to pay $40 for each one of these when there's 4. So plus, if I was really concerned about air filtration, I wouldn't have done the airbox delete. So, I like these two because they'll smush down a little bit. And on these CB550 bikes, there's a couple spots right here that kind of need that little smush room that these offer. If you get those cone ones, you know, the ones that have all of the metal wiring, they won't fit in here. They're too long. So you have to get these foam kind. Ugh. And it won't go on with my one hand, so I don't know. I'll have to take my hand off the phone and do it later. So I'll go ahead and I'll get these in. I'm probably going to spray a little bit of air filter spray on the inside. That way it'll just end up getting a little bit more protection from dirt. I just have the dirt bike air filter tacky spray stuff, and I'll just run it on, spray a little bit on the inside. And that also helps to clog up the pores so it's not running so lean, because I didn't change my jets at all, I just left them stock. That's all right. So at your own project, if you have the carbs off and you're gonna change your stock air box to these things, you're supposed to put a little tiny bit bigger on the pilot and a little bit bigger on the main jet, I believe, to get it to run a little bit more rich, or less lean rather. So I'll go ahead and do those real quick. I'm gonna shut up and put the phone down, and I'll show you what they come out like. I got the pod filters all on. They went on really easily. Sprayed them with some filter oil on the inside. I was gonna put the oil in, and I remembered that I haven't changed the oil filter. If you guys have never done that, what's behind this? I don't know what that is, a 17 mil probably. You undo this and this whole louvered thing comes off, and there's a filter back there. This is my replacement part. I believe this is the right one. I don't really know. This has been sitting on my shelf for years, but I think these are KN401 numbers. So if it's not right, I'll just delete this part of the video. Okay, so once you got that louvered thing off, oh, like this, it comes off. Your old oil filter will be inside of there. It was the KN401 for the KNN version. This just goes in there. And then you got this big bolt that you're gonna shove through the whole thing. I really can't do it right now one-handed. But basically you got that guy there. And then this guy. Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up messing this up because I'm trying it one-handed. But anyways, you got some rubber O-rings. The big one is for right there. If you need to replace that, I'm not going to. The small one goes on that bolt right there. I don't really replace those unless they look hard and cracked, so just leave them on. Put that all back together, tighten up that 17 mil bolt. Boom, back in there. If you're putting a new one of these on, you got to make sure you rub some dirty oil on it. That's called priming your filter. I don't really know if that works the same on cars or on bikes as it does on cars, but I know on cars you have to have oil on this oil ring. And if there isn't oil there, it drips for some reason. So you see how there's a drip here? So that means mine's oily. So what I'll probably do is take some of my dirty oil here and smear it all around that before I close this up. And that makes that seal better. Okay? So I got the new brake line. I went with a 12-inch one, and it fits perfect, although it was a pain in the butt to get on because it is a perfect fit. So if it could have been 14 inches, it might have been a little easier. So we got that all mounted. I got the brake bled. In case you don't know how to do that, once you get the lines replaced and snugged, make sure you have those washers on each side. Come down here, and this little 8 mil, you squeeze the brake lever a bunch to build up pressure, and then you hold it, and you take your other hand with the 8 mil wrench and you crack that open real quick, and it just shoots out a little bit, and you have to close it real fast, like, and then when you're squeezing it, the brake will collapse all the way down. And after you close this, then you squeeze the brake lever a bunch to build up the pressure, like this. And then you hold it, and as you hold that, you reach down with the other hand and loosen that, and it goes psh, and that squeezes all the way down. Close it, open that up, build up pressure. You gotta do that whole thing about, I don't know, 5 million times. If you're like me, you'll forget to put the brake fluid back in. And then what happens is you get air back in your line and you have to start all over. So it's real important to open this and top it off after you do like maybe every 5 to 10 turns down there. If you leave this off, when you squeeze this, it will eventually build up pressure and shoot a fountain of brake fluid. which is not good if you have painted things. If you don't know, brake fluid will eat paint. So if you put a drip of this, like sometimes it falls down there, it just eats the paint off of this freaking lift. So that's how you do all of that crap. What else was I gonna show you? There's something else, I don't really know. Drop the radio. Shh. There we go. I'm gonna be able to hear myself think. So yeah, this is all we got left. 3 steps left. We gotta lube the chain. We got the exhaust wrap, and we gotta mount the exhaust. I guess that might count as like 2 steps there. And then we need all the badges for the gas tank and the side covers. So we're getting close to the end here. I don't know why I'm covering that up. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the side covers real quick so we can get a little look. A good thing to do is clean these rubbers really well so they're nice and supple. And then before you put on your side covers, put some grease, like some wheel bearing or some lithium grease in there. And that'll help those side covers come back out without those little tits breaking off in there. If you have old side covers, those things are just dying to break off in these holes for some reason. So I'm gonna get out the side covers and I'll grease them up and put them on. I'll turn on the camera and show you what we got. Well, there we go. See if I can get a nice angle. So that's where we're at so far. Still looks a little strange without the badges and without the exhaust on. There's our little glitter side cover. Hi everybody. And it really shows up different on camera. Like, see all this weird yellow that shows up in there? That doesn't even exist through my eyeballs outside of the camera. But when I look on the screen here, I see all this weird yellow. So that doesn't actually have yellow in it. That's just a hot spot from the light above.
Hey Dad, I finished my exercise.
Wow, this guy finished his exercise. Stud. Let's see the guns. So here's this side. I actually already put a little ding in it right there. Good job. But I just won't tell anybody about that and maybe nobody will see. So we got all that stuff done. I'll turn on the camera maybe tomorrow and do the exhaust. Well, I did it. I finally got the exhaust wrapped. I'm awfully proud of it too. And it didn't really take that long. It took me about maybe an hour. Yeah, it wasn't really that bad. I used rubber gloves, taped up my wrist real well so that way it didn't get all in my hands. Yeah, so there it is. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you guys a little better. So there she is. So I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I'll try and pretend like I did and tell you. I think I did this one all by itself. It's about there-ish. And then I believe I came up on this one, came down to about down to here, and then jumped ship over to this other one, and then came up to there and finished it there. And then I took a super duper long one, and I started here, came down a little bit, and then wrapped around 3 of them all the way down, and then came out and did all 4 with that same piece. All the way to there. And so there she is. Oh, let's turn it around so you can see the other side of this beauty. So, in case you haven't done this before, I'll give a real quick explanation of how to do it. Real important you put on rubber gloves because that fiberglass will get all in between your fingers and it sticks in your skin for like a week and bugs. So you take your stuff, however long of a piece, which you kind of have, you have this huge monster, well, I'll show you, it's right here. Got a big old roll, right? It comes in that big roll right there. And you have to soak it, you know, before you use it. But before you do that, you want to cut off as much as you need. So I just kind of guesstimate on everything, and it ends up working out somehow. But on this first piece, I probably had like a 10-foot strip maybe, I don't know. And then this next piece was like 20, and this next piece was like 40 foot. And I usually have like a bucket of water and put it in the water. There's not really anything there. I don't know why I'm even showing you that. Just, we'll keep going. So you put the stuff in the water, let it soak, and then you start it up at the top and just basically wrap it around itself, pulling super freaking tight. And when you pull it real tight, it ends up grabbing a hold and staying. And then you kind of have to wrap it around and pull the crap out of it each step of the way. The toughest thing is that when you have like a real long piece, like the one that ended up doing all of this stuff, you end up having to pull like 40 feet in between. So what I usually do is I'll wrap it and then just keep wrapping it like this as you go, and it twists all the hell up. And then you just untwist it as it goes. So anyways, that's basically how it goes. If you have separate pipes, like maybe 1 or 2 separate pipes, it's super easy and kind of fun and rewarding. The best thing about it is it takes crappy looking pipes, makes them look nice. I don't know, maybe it adds like 100 horsepower or something, who knows? I don't. Anyways, I got these things all nice and cleaned. I don't know if I can really show you how clean those look. No, a little bit. Anyways, these guys are all rusted. So I put them up here on the bench grinder. And as that thing's spinning, I shove those louvered areas kind of like that, so it gets right in between. Do them all, and then go in backwards and forwards and upside down and inside out. And then you end up with a nice piece of treasure. So, the exhausts are finally done. Now I'm going to try to put them on. But there's a slight problem. I noticed that inside of all the exhaust ports are all of those little copper rings for the exhaust. I think they're called exhaust gaskets, or sometimes they're called a crush gasket. And those things are just jammed in there. So much so that I didn't even know if they were actually copper gaskets or if they were just part of the head. So I had to clean the crap out of one of them, and then you could see the copper color a little bit. So let me get you in there and show you. Hold on. All right, I know the light's bright, but gotta do what you gotta do. So anyways, there's that crush gasket. Oh man, it's that brown thing. I can't point because I'm holding a flashlight. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of carbon in there. I'll take care of that, maybe. Anyways, so that gasket, obviously it's got this freaking lip that's protruding here, but normally they just pop right out, and these ones are like freaking welded in there. They're all like that too. Oh, too much light, huh? Whatever. So I gotta figure out a way to get those all out. I think what I'm gonna do is shove paper towel, like some shop rag type shit in there to keep all this debris from falling in the hole. And then I'll clean out this little outside area and maybe see if I can get something pried right between that gasket and the engine, and hopefully not screw it up. I mean, it's already scratched. I didn't do that, I promise. That's some other feller. So we gotta get those things out, and then we got some new ones. We got, oh, don't need that anymore, huh? We got a bunch of them a while back from another project. Sometimes China makes all right stuff. I'm not saying good, just all right. These are clearly, see it says right here, Zheng Ping Tao Ching Chong. And we got this guy here. And that's probably about, I don't know, 4 mils thick right there. And that'll get crushed down to like 2 mils when you clamp the bolts down. So anyways, I got this pack of like, I don't know, 10 or 20 million of these things for like $10 one time. And they're 40 mil, by the way. At least I hope that's what this is. Let's see, maybe I'm wrong. No, that's the right size. It's just snug as a bug. There we go. So anyways, I'm gonna do that crap and then we'll get back to you and holler at you. Okay, got the first one out. It took about at least 8 minutes, I don't know, forever. And I'll show you the tricks of the trade. So I found this guy. He's like 39, maybe 38 millimeters in diameter. Fits perfectly in there. And clean the crap out of everything first, right? And then I saw this little thing online where somebody said take a nail. Where is that nail? There it is. And stick that behind that lip. That did not work at all. So I went to my go-to tool for everything, the Harbor Freight Especial 5000. And basically what I did was I used this, I don't know, bolt? What are these things called? Who knows? That guy, the bolty guy. And I kind of used that to hold that against, and then I stuck it in and then just and with my Hulk hands, I got it out. But I also noticed that inside of there, oh yeah, that's beautiful, huh? Oh, whoa, where'd you go? I can't stick my big thumb in there, it blocks the light. Let's try the pointer. There we go, come on, get in there, buddy. So we got this little protrusion here that obviously somebody stuck the exhaust in and freaking did that. That was probably me, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, we'll pretend like it's somebody else. So some idiot came in here and they did that. So I'm gonna have to get a file or I don't know what to get that chunk out so the other new gasket will seat in there. Yeah, I didn't even try to get the carbon out of there. It's still all in there. I'll just leave it. It probably makes it run better. So anyways, I gotta get that little chunk out there and then move on to the next 3. Jeez, that's gonna be tough. So anyways, I'll go ahead and I'll try to get that little chunk of metal out, that burr. Here's what the old one looked like. Yeah, as you can see, that's only like 1.5 millimeters thick. And that's where I got the little lip all tore out and busted that guy out. I've never seen one stuck in like this before. This might be like the original one from 1974. Supposedly you're supposed to change these often. I never do, I just keep reusing them, but I've never seen them like this before, so I'm gonna actually put new ones in this time. So let me get a few minutes here. Let me just leave you guys to be for a few minutes so I can put the phone down. See if we can get a few of those others out and these cleaned up, and then I'll get back to you. All right, I'm feeling kind of brave. I got the last 3 of them out on, I don't know, cylinder 1, 2, 3, we'll call them. I think it's actually 2, 3, 4, but who cares? So I thought maybe I would show you how this was working in case somebody has the same problem. So I'm sticking this, just kind of clean all the crap out. So that way, this little tiny edge on the bottom doesn't have anything blocking it in. Okay. So I am holding this with my hand, so expect lots of turbulence here. So I'm using my pick tool. I think this is Harbor Freight pick 39625468934 and special tool, of course. So I'm gonna come in here and then I'm just gonna turn out like this. And as you can see, that guy is starting to bend. Can you see that? I don't know, man. This is freaking, it's tough. This is an iPhone like 3 or something that I'm recording on, by the way. Oh, what luck. Oh my goodness. I'm feeling like a real mechanic now. I didn't stage that. That actually was the easiest one, and it just so happened that that's the one I showed you. Feeling pretty proud. So, sorry for bragging so much just then. I don't know what came over me. But what I'm gonna do next anyways is I'm gonna just shove this guy in here. And... oh yeah, look at, I forgot a paper towel in there. What a dummy, huh? Yeah, you guys were trying to tell me the whole time that's what you were saying, and I didn't hear. So we'll just have to hope that that valve was closed. So when I spray it out with the air hose, all the cock-a-doodle-doo doesn't freaking blow right into that valve. So for this next stunt that I will be performing, I have to somehow magically get these 4 crushed gasket exhaust thingies to stay in the holes, whilst taking 2 of these and smashing them around here, whilst taking one of these louvered, I don't know, exhaust thingies and putting it on at the same time. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and each one has one of those pieces, 2 of those, and 1 of those. So that's 2, 4 for each. So 16 wildly violent pieces are going to be trying to jump out of that motor while I try to put it all together. So that doesn't sound like too tough to most of you, but basically what happens is that happens. You freaking shove these guys in these holes. Come on, get in the freaking hole. Oh, and then you go to put it up. Oh, what the hell? And that just keeps happening over and freaking over. So I don't know. I thought about putting some JB weld on these just to make sure they don't fall out, and so that way the next guy that gets it has that same experience I just had. But that's kind of probably going to cause some problems later, so let's not do the JB weld. I thought maybe a little dab of grease. What do you guys think about a dab of grease? Just a little blob to help it stay, you know? Anyways, I still got to cut that little piece out, and that's why that's sticking. Or do I? I don't know. So if you guys know a quick way to make these things all go together so that way one person can put on this 4-piece header, let me know. Put it in the comments or something. Yeah, be the first person to ever comment on my video. Maybe you're the first person to ever see this video too. Maybe you got the secrets to the universe. Let me know. Bastard. There's a little side-by-side comparison too at the one I just took out versus the new one, so you can see just how bad those were and how shaky I can be. There, can you see it now? Is that better? Oh, mercy. Okay, got the exhaust ports all cleaned. Got a few other things I gotta do before I put the exhaust on. One of the things I gotta do is I gotta put gas and all over the motor to clean off all of the crap up in there, like that stuff right there. So it's a million degrees outside like always. Hey, how's it going? And I don't want to dump a bunch of gas in my garage because it's all closed up, as you can see. So I don't want to ruin the last 2 or 3 brain cells I got. So what I'm probably going to do is wait until this evening, and then I'll take off the tank, put I got a drip pan under there, put some cardboard under there, and get some gas in my paintbrush and just kind of dab it everywhere. I know it's not a lot of light, but there's a lot of crap up there, and I know when I go to buy a motorcycle, the last thing I want to see is crap everywhere. So just by cleaning it, sometimes I can make a bike a little bit more presentable to the seller, or to the buyer rather. So nothing worked out like it was supposed to, and so I did JB weld. Yep, and I'm not even disappointed in it because it'll probably hold better than those piece of crap China little clips that I paid $1 million for. So I'm not certain what happened. Maybe it was my lack of expertise on the subject matter, but I got those little holes cleared out for the pins, and then the clips would never want to seat. But what did happen was I messed up the badge a bunch, pressing all over the place, and put a dent in the tank under the paint right there from that letter A from pressing so hard. It'll never show because it's the letter A shape. But just a lot of disappointment and failure, which happens, you know, a lot of times. Excuse me, let me turn this crap down. Shh. Sorry about Ray Charles. He doesn't know we're doing this because he's blind. But anyways, I put this thing on with some JB weld and the little holes and on the posts, and I'm just really hoping it doesn't drip out because that would really mess up my nice paint job. which is just the type of thing that I like to do to myself. Yeah, so we put some JB weld in there. Put some tape all over it to hold it till the JB weld dries. Yeah, and just, you know, we won't tell anybody about this, and nobody will know that it's put on with JB weld, right? Okay, so next up we'll clean up some stuff with some gas like we were talking about. Probably wait until later when it cools down or the garage gets a million degrees, and that way I can open it up outside. And then we'll finally get the exhaust put on, and that should be the end of this video. Well, the JB weld worked yet again. Beauty. I also managed to get the exhaust mounted. I was going to show you guys, but it took about 10 hands to get the exhaust mounted. It's a pretty tough job, so if you ever try to do that on your own, make sure you have somebody to help you. That'll cut down on a lot of the cuss words. So let me turn the camera around real quick, and then I'll give you guys a better shot of what it looks like so far. There it is. So as stated yesterday, or for you guys like maybe a minute ago, I went ahead and JB welded these on. Yeah, that's ghetto and all, but whatever. Nobody will know. It'll be our little secret, right? So that sure makes the bike look a lot nicer, doesn't it? Yes, yes it does. I know. I also got the exhaust put on. Oh, what a freaking horrible chore. So if you haven't ever done this before, or if you have and you just got stuck watching this video, I'll give you an explanation anyways. Each one of these exhausts has one of these little, I don't know, louvered, finned clamps, and that's what the nut kind of sits against and holds the exhaust in with. But inside of there's two kind of C half circular things that go on that butt up against that, and then they press up against that copper crush gasket. I did find that if you put anti-seize all this crap, just kind of paint a little bit inside and then put the crush gasket in. That held the crush gaskets, which that cut out on at least 50% of the nightmare, because those things just want to fall out the second you do anything, and this would have been like a 4-man job without those crush gaskets being able to stay in there. So I put anti-seize. I also put that on mainly just because I didn't want them sticking again. As you saw a couple minutes ago, I had this one stuck in there, and so I thought anti-seize might stick and also help them unstick, if that makes any sense. And it did. It helped all the crush gaskets stayed the whole entire time. The next thing I did was I got this pinstripe tape, real thin, it's like 1/8 inch, and I put on all of the clamps and everything and taped around a couple times and left a long string hanging off. So that way, all of the metal shims or whatever the heck those exhaust things are called, all were staying on. So that way, and then I had my son come out and help me on the other side with the lifting and the jamming and the cussing. And once you get them started to insert, then you could take the tape and kind of peel it off and then use the 90-degree pick tool to kind of grab the tape and pull it up behind the studs and then unwrap it all the way around until the tape's off. That took a little bit of time, but I think probably total it only took us maybe 15 minutes to mount the pipes. I've actually done this bike before on my own, and it might have taken me like a half hour and like 500, maybe 600,000 cuss words to get it on. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and the next video I post will probably be sometime this week. I'm going to try to get the little side cover badges put on and throw some gas in there, and then we'll show that on the next video. Maybe not the gas. I don't think I need to show that. You guys probably know how to do that. But I'll show you how I put the side covers on, the little badges, and then we'll take it out in the sun and you can see how sparkly she is, and let her run for you. And then I'll probably put it up on the list of Craig's and try to get it sold. So thanks for watching.